In the turbulent ocean of our daily lives, it's easy to get lost in the waves of stress and uncertainty. However, there is a way to find peace even in the midst of storms, a time-tested path to inner peace. Imagine that despite all challenges, whether it's pressure at work, conflicts in a relationship, or unexpected trials, you are standing strong as a rock, impervious to the storm. This isn't just a fantasy, it's the essence of Stoicism, which teaches us how to manage our emotions and reactions, allowing us to live more fulfilling lives. Today, we're going to dive into the basics of Stoicism and look at 10 timeless principles that can make a big difference in your perception of the inevitable ups and downs. These principles are not abstractions, but practical tools that you can use in your daily life to build resilience and inner strength. For example, when you are faced with a difficult relationship, remember the words of Epictetus. It is not things that bother people, but their opinions about things. This realization can help you not to take conflicts too personally. Or when responsibility begins to press, remember Seneca, difficulties are not terrible if we can overcome them. Each of these principles is a step toward living a life where external circumstances don't dictate your inner world. Whether it's striving to maintain mental clarity in the midst of chaos or mastering the art of emotional control, you'll gain the tools to cultivate confidence and calm. By the end of this journey, you will be armed with knowledge that will help you remain steadfast in any challenge. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give it a like. And let's start our dive. Maintain a firm goal. Imagine setting sail on the vast expanse of the ocean with no clear purpose, like a ship drifting at will, an easy prey to every change in the wind and waves. This is what life without a clear purpose can look like, chaotic and vulnerable to external circumstances. Epictetus emphasized the importance of clear intentions, stating that difficulties show that we are capable of more. When you have a firm purpose, it is like a compass that guides you through the turbulent waters of life. This purpose doesn't arise on its own. It is formed through a process of deep reflection on what really matters to you. It's not just about career aspirations or personal accomplishments, but also about the principles and values you want to dedicate your life to. Ask yourself important questions. What is your purpose? What kind of person do you want to become? The answers to these questions will help you identify your true purpose. When you identify your purpose, it will become the anchor that holds you amidst the chaos. Life will present you with challenges. It's inevitable. But with a clear purpose, those challenges become more manageable. They transform from impregnable mountains to stepping stones that you can overcome. When your goals and values are clear, significant obstacles can look like small steps toward your dreams. A solid goal is not a random discovery. It is the result of deliberate reflection on what really matters. Such a process takes time and honesty. You need to look deeply into your soul, beyond superficial desires, to understand what really drives you. This may require re-evaluating your life, abandoning old habits or adopting new attitudes. It is an ongoing journey of self-discovery. Remember, a firm purpose is not just a destination, but a guiding light that helps you move confidently and steadily along life's path. Consider a firm purpose as a beacon in the night. It not only guides you, but also provides a sense of security and stability when life's storms try to throw you off course. In moments of uncertainty, remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. Happiness depends on ourselves. Find your purpose, and you will be able to face any challenge. Control your emotions. When someone hurts us, it is natural to feel resentment and a desire for revenge. Our reactions to these situations are shaped by our thoughts and perceptions. This means that we have the ability to choose how to respond, rather than letting resentment overwhelm us. We can see it as a chance to strengthen our patience and self-awareness. Imagine this. Every time you remain calm and collected despite the circumstances, you are not just developing a skill, but mastering an art that requires daily practice. Start with small steps. Set achievable goals for the day. Every time you achieve even a small goal, your confidence increases and you reaffirm your ability to control your thoughts. Focus on the present moment and deepen your understanding of your emotions. Once you realize that you can choose your reaction, you become more resilient to life's challenges and less susceptible to negative emotions. Protecting your mind also involves setting boundaries. Be mindful of what you allow into your mental space. You wouldn't allow trash to fill your house. Likewise, don't allow negative thoughts and toxic people to clog your mind. Surround yourself with positive influences that inspire you. Read books that expand your horizons, engage in discussions that grow your mind, and spend time with people who support you on the path to your goals. In this approach to mindfulness lies your power and freedom. Practicing mindfulness regularly will help you avoid impulsive reactions, giving you more control over your emotional state. Another important aspect is developing a growth mindset. Look at obstacles as opportunities for personal growth, not as threats to your comfort. When you face challenges, remind yourself that each challenge is a chance to become stronger and wiser. This change in perception can completely transform your attitude toward adversity, making you more resilient and less vulnerable. Remember, mindfulness guarding is a lifelong journey. It's a constant choice to focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your reactions and attitudes. It's giving up the victim mentality and embracing the role of active creator of your experience. The more you practice, the easier it becomes, and soon you will notice that external circumstances have less and less influence on your inner world. As Seneca said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Learn to respond to criticism. When someone criticizes us, it is natural to feel negative emotions and want to respond in the same way. However, Epictetus taught that we cannot control the opinions and actions of others, but we have complete power over our own reactions. This principle shows that even if someone makes a rude comment about us, we can decide how much it will affect our inner state. In today's world, it is important to realize that everyone has their own views and values that may not be the same as ours. Facing different opinions and sometimes harsh words is part of life. The key is how we process and respond to these situations. The first step in knowing how to handle criticism is to have a deep understanding of yourself. When you are clear about your motives and the reasons for your actions, criticism from others loses its edge. If you are confident that you are acting in accordance with your values, negative feedback loses its significance. This self-awareness creates a solid foundation that protects you from being easily influenced by the opinions of others. When faced with criticism, instead of immediately reacting defensively, pause and reflect. Does the criticism contain some truth? Even harsh words can contain useful insights that contribute to your development. This doesn't mean you should take all criticism at face value, but being open to reflecting on it demonstrates your maturity and willingness to learn. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of patience and gentleness. Patience allows us to keep our composure and not react impulsively to criticism, which helps us maintain healthy relationships with others, even when they disagree with us. Learning how to handle criticism also involves developing a thick skin. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent or ignoring feedback, but rather building resilience. It is about realizing that not all criticism applies to you. Often people criticize others because of their own insecurities, frustrations, or misunderstandings. Recognizing this fact allows you to remain calm and respectful in your interactions. Handling criticism effectively can be an inspiration to others. When people see that you respond to criticism with grace, composure, and openness to learning, they begin to admire your strength and may follow your example. You become a model of resilience and emotional intelligence, embodying the principles of Stoicism in your daily life. As Seneca said, "A man who suffers from fear cannot be free." Learn to see criticism as an opportunity for growth, and you will be able to turn the negative into a positive. Transforming resentment. When we are confronted with resentment, it often seems that the events themselves cause us pain. However, as Epictetus taught, the true cause of our suffering is our own thoughts and perceptions. This means that when someone hurts you, it's not so much their words as it is your perception and reaction to them that strikes. Your power lies in deciding how much that offense will affect your inner state. This principle is liberating because it transfers control from external circumstances to your inner world. Transforming resentment does not mean suppressing your emotions. It is natural to feel hurt or anger when you are offended. Stoicism teaches us to acknowledge these feelings without letting them control us. It is important to create a space between the event and your reaction. In that space, you find the strength to choose a response that aligns with your values and long-term goals. One practical way to deal with resentment is through cognitive reappraisal. When you feel resentful, try to look at the situation from a different perspective. Instead of dwelling on the negativity, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? For example, if a colleague criticizes your project, instead of taking it as an attack, consider whether there is something useful in their comments that will help you improve your work. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of empathy. When someone offends you, try to understand what may have prompted them to act in this way. Perhaps they are going through a difficult time or facing their own problems. This understanding can help you respond with empathy rather than anger. It is not about making excuses for bad behavior, but about seeing the person for their actions. Another effective method is practicing forgiveness. To hold a grudge is to hurt yourself first and foremost. It is similar to drinking poison and hoping it will harm another. By choosing forgiveness, you free yourself from the burden of negative emotions. Forgiveness does not mean approving of the offense, but rather releasing it from its impact on your life. It is a gift you give yourself, allowing you to move forward with peace in your soul. True strength lies not in avoiding difficulties, but in accepting and overcoming them. Every offense is an opportunity to strengthen your resilience. Just as muscles become stronger through resistance, your character is strengthened through overcoming and transforming resentments. The more you practice this approach, the easier it becomes, until you notice that external circumstances have less and less impact on your inner peace. Remember that transforming resentment is an ongoing practice. It is not something that can be mastered all at once. It requires patience, self-awareness, and a commitment to personal growth. Each time you choose to transform resentment, you strengthen yourself and build a more constructive future. As Marcus Aurelius said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters." Overcoming fear and shame. When we encounter negative emotions such as fear and shame, it is important to remember that these feelings often arise from our perception of events, not from the events themselves. Epictetus emphasized that we are the ones who give meaning to what is happening, thus creating internal conflict. Once we realize this, we can begin to change our reactions to fear and shame, turning them into tools for growth. Fear is often rooted in the unknown or the expectation of negative outcomes. It is a natural reaction designed to protect us, but it can become burdensome if left unchecked. Stoicism teaches us to face our fears with courage. Instead of avoiding what causes anxiety, it's helpful to ask ourselves, What exactly is it that scares me? By breaking the fear down into specific concerns, you may find that it loses its power. For example, if you're afraid of public speaking, analyze what exactly triggers your fear: the judgment of the audience or the possibility of making a mistake. Often, by understanding your fears, you will be able to deal with them more effectively. Fear can be caused by the fear of being judged or making a mistake. However, it's important to remember that your audience has generally not come to judge you harshly, but to listen and learn. Even the most experienced speakers sometimes stumble. When you realize this and prepare in advance, you gradually build your confidence. Each time you speak, you become more resilient and confident. Shame is a powerful feeling that can make us feel unworthy. It often arises from societal pressures or past mistakes. Stoicism suggests that we accept our imperfections with courage and self-compassion. When you feel shame over a mistake, instead of letting it overwhelm you, face it directly. Ask yourself the question, what can I learn from this situation? This process of reflection helps turn shame into a valuable lesson rather than a source of self-deprecation. Another important tool for overcoming shame is self-forgiveness. Holding on to shame can lock us into constant self-criticism. By forgiving yourself, you release a heavy burden and allow yourself to move forward. This does not mean making excuses for your mistakes, but rather acknowledging them, learning from them, and letting go. This is a key step towards healing and personal growth. To begin practicing overcoming fear and shame, start with small steps. Gradually immerse yourself in situations that trigger these emotions, viewing them as learning opportunities. Over time, you will build resilience and notice that what once frightened or shamed you no longer has such power over you. This gradual approach and reflection will help you break free from negative emotions and gain new perspectives. Preparedness for obstacles. Each of us faces difficulties in our life's journey. Epictetus taught us not just to react to them, but to prepare in advance for possible trials. This approach does not imply pessimism or expecting the worst, but rather a realistic view of life that helps us to be prepared for the unexpected. When we recognize possible obstacles in advance, we can remain calm and deal constructively with problems when they arise. We can think through options for solutions and ways to manage our emotions. One practical method of anticipating difficulties is the mental rehearsal technique. This involves taking time to visualize possible problems and thinking about reactions to them. For example, before an important presentation, you can visualize what will happen if a technique fails or if difficult questions arise. This helps reduce the effect of surprise. By immersing yourself in such thoughts, you become less susceptible to stress and more flexible in your decision-making. Being prepared for obstacles also means being ready for change. Life rarely follows a predetermined plan, and fixed expectations can lead to disappointment. By recognizing that events can unfold unexpectedly, we can remain flexible and adjust our actions as needed. This ability to adapt is critical to successfully navigating life's uncertainties. It is also important to maintain a balanced perspective. While it is helpful to consider potential challenges, it is also important to be mindful of your strengths and resources. Assess your skills, knowledge, and support system that can help you meet challenges. This approach allows you to be prepared without sinking into excessive anxiety or negativism. Being prepared for obstacles fosters patience and perseverance. Knowing that challenges are inevitable allows you to remain calm in the process and be more resilient to setbacks. This is consistent with Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes resilience and inner strength. As Seneca said, "He is not great who does not endure hardship, but he who remains unchanged in spite of it." Regular reflection, can also improve your ability to anticipate obstacles. Take time to analyze past events and identify patterns. What challenges did you face? How did you overcome them? What strategies were effective and what could be improved? By examining your experiences, you will be better prepared for future challenges. Mindfulness practices can further strengthen your ability to anticipate and manage challenges. Mindfulness helps you stay in the present moment, allowing you to recognize potential challenges early and respond thoughtfully. It improves emotional regulation, providing calm and focus even in stressful situations. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Happiness depends on ourselves." Developing inner strength. Each of us faces challenges that can cause stress and anxiety. Epictetus once observed, "It is not what happens to you that matters, but how you respond to it." This wise statement reminds us that our true power lies not in trying to change the world around us, but in knowing how to manage our internal reactions. When we face criticism from a loved one or encounter an unexpected setback, we always have a choice about how to react. These choices shape our character and define our lives. Inner strength begins with self-awareness and the practice of being conscious of our emotions. This does not mean suppressing feelings. Rather, it is observing them and understanding their origins. For example, if you are criticized at work, instead of instantly reacting negatively, try asking yourself questions. Why does this hurt me? Or, how can I use this information to grow? This self-awareness is the first step to building inner strength. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of understanding what we can control and what we can't. This knowledge helps us maintain inner peace. We have no power to change the opinions or actions of others, but we can control our reactions and attitudes. By focusing on what is in our power, we reduce stress and conserve energy. As Marcus Aurelius said, "If something is out of your power, don't waste your energy on it." Forgiveness is an important aspect of inner strength. Holding grudges and anger drains one's energy and clouds judgment. Stoicism teaches us to forgive, not to excuse bad behavior, but to free ourselves from its influence. By forgiving, we free ourselves from the burden of negative emotions and create space for healing. For example, if you have been wronged by a friend, forgiveness allows you to move forward without dwelling on the past. Developing resilience is another key to inner strength. Life is full of ups and downs, and setbacks are inevitable. It's important to view them as opportunities for growth. Every challenge is a chance to strengthen your character. When you face challenges, ask yourself, "What can I learn from this situation?" This practice makes you more adaptable and less susceptible to life's fluctuations. Stoicism also inspires us to seek support in the community. By surrounding ourselves with people who uplift and inspire, we can build our inner strength. Participate in discussions that challenge your thinking and seek out spiritual practices that give you guidance. These external sources of support help create a sense of belonging and purpose. Practicing gratitude is another effective way to build inner strength. Focusing on what you are grateful for helps to refocus your thinking, even in difficult moments. Take time each day to write down 3 things you are grateful for. This simple exercise can greatly increase your emotional resilience. Finally, inner strength involves accepting vulnerability. Acknowledging your fears and doubts doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. By facing your vulnerabilities with courage, you can turn them into a source of strength. As Seneca said, "A man's strength is shown by the way he deals with adversity." This acceptance allows you to move through life with authenticity and confidence. Deterrence of action. In our fast-paced lives, it is often necessary to control our reactions to external stimuli. Restraint does not mean suppressing emotions or pretending they are absent. Rather, it is more about acknowledging our feelings while not allowing them to dictate our behavior. It's about creating a gap between stimulus and response, a moment when we can reflect and choose the most sensible path. This practice of reflection can make a big difference in how we interact with the world around us. Imagine a situation in a store when the cashier gets the change wrong. Your first reaction may be anger or irritation. Instead of immediately speaking your thoughts, Stoicism suggests that you pause and consider your reaction. Will yelling or frustration make a difference? Hardly. By choosing to remain calm, you maintain control over your emotions and create a more constructive communication experience. One important aspect of holding back is the ability to delay gratification. In today's world, we are constantly tempted by quick pleasures that distract us from long-term goals. Stoicism reminds us of the value of patience and perseverance. By delaying immediate gratification and focusing on our long-term plans, we develop discipline and resilience. This is especially true in conflict situations. It is better to delay a reaction than to say something you will regret later. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of mindfulness in words. Before saying something, it's worth considering. Will it be constructive? Will it help build stronger relationships? Practicing restraint requires self-awareness and discipline. You need to be aware of your impulses and actively decide how to deal with them. For example, if you notice a habit of reacting quickly to criticism, set boundaries. Give yourself time to think before responding. Let's say you're struggling with procrastination. In this case, creating a clear schedule can help you stay organized and efficient. And if you have difficulty controlling anger, try incorporating relaxation practices into your life, such as deep breathing or yoga. Stoicism teaches us to act based on reason rather than emotion. This means that it is important to make decisions after carefully analyzing a situation and its consequences. Imagine you need to make an important decision at work. Instead of acting on impulse, take the time to gather information and analyze the pros and cons. This will allow you to make more informed decisions and feel more confident. Self-control is not about not being proactive. It's about being conscious about your choices and understanding their consequences. Regularly practicing self-control helps us achieve our goals more effectively and maintain inner peace. It is important to set aside time to reflect on your behavior. Conduct daily reflections. Analyze where you could have exercised more self-control and how you could have reacted differently. This practice promotes self-awareness and strengthens your resolve to act consciously. Another effective tool for deterring action is the daily practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you stay in the present moment and be attentive to your feelings, allowing you to recognize impulsive desires and choose more considered responses. Whether through meditation, deep breathing, or simply observing your surroundings, integrating mindfulness into your daily life can greatly improve your ability to self-control. Learn to accept. Acceptance is the foundation for effective action in life. When we resist reality, we expend our energy and create unnecessary emotional stress. For example, if you are facing a relationship breakup, it is natural to feel sad and anxious. However, by accepting the situation, you can focus on the future. Perhaps thinking about new hobbies, socializing with friends, or even self-development. This proactive approach helps you cope more easily and reduces your emotional burden. Cultivating acceptance requires practicing mindfulness and meditation. These practices help you stay in the present moment and consciously observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Regular mindfulness practice develops the ability to accept each moment as it is, with all its imperfections. This creates a solid foundation for inner peace and stability. As Epictetus said, It is not what happens to you that matters, but how you respond to it. It's important to remember that acceptance is not defeat, but finding strength in difficult situations. Every event, even difficult ones, provides an opportunity for learning and growth. When you face challenges, ask yourself, what lesson can I learn from this situation? Or, how can this experience strengthen me? This shift in thinking allows you to turn obstacles into stepping stones to personal growth. Overcoming perfectionism is another important challenge. Many of us strive for perfection in our careers, relationships, and personal accomplishments. However, this constant striving can lead to stress and dissatisfaction. Accepting that perfection is unattainable allows us to appreciate our efforts and progress. This doesn't mean lowering the bar, but realizing that imperfection is an inherent part of the human experience. Accepting our imperfections and failures with compassion helps us to live authentically and with gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool for developing acceptance. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift our focus from lack to abundance. Gratitude allows us to notice the positives in life, even in difficult times. By practicing gratitude regularly, we strengthen our positive perception and enhance our ability to accept and appreciate life as it is. As Seneca said, no one can be happy unless he appreciates what he has. Acceptance also includes our relationships with others. Often we have inflated expectations about the behavior of those around us, which leads to disappointment when they don't meet our expectations. By accepting people for who they are, with all their strengths and weaknesses, we can build more harmonious relationships. This doesn't mean putting up with toxic behavior, but recognizing that everyone has their own story and challenges. By practicing empathy and compassion, we create space for authentic relationships and growth together. Living in harmony with nature. Stoic philosophers such as Epictetus argued that living in harmony with nature is the key to true happiness and inner peace. It involves recognizing our place in the world and acting in accordance with our rational and social nature. Living in alignment with nature means leading an authentic life in which we can reach our potential and act in unity with the universe. This path begins with self-awareness, which requires a deep understanding of one's true nature, values, and purpose. For example, if you feel that your work is not aligned with your inner beliefs, it is important to reflect on your true aspirations. By reflecting on your strengths and preferences, you can find a path that aligns with yourself, rather than simply conforming to the expectations of others. As Seneca said, "You cannot live well without knowing what your true desires are." Accepting the cycles of life is another important aspect of living according to nature. Life is like the changing seasons. It goes through phases of growth, stability, decline, and renewal. When we accept these changes, we can more easily cope with life's transitions. For example, if you have lost a loved one, realizing that grief is a natural part of life can help you recover more quickly and move on. Cultivating the virtues is central to Stoic philosophy. Wisdom helps us make informed decisions. Courage gives us strength to overcome difficulties. Justice encourages us to act with integrity, and moderation keeps us from extremes. For example, in a difficult situation at work, when a conflict with a co-worker demands your attention, applying wisdom and justice will help resolve it without unnecessary stress. Stoicism also teaches us to live in harmony with others. As social beings, we are dependent on relationships with others. Accepting our interdependence and contributing to the well-being of the community is an important aspect of living according to nature. A simple act, such as helping a neighbor in a difficult situation, can strengthen bonds and create a more supportive atmosphere. Embracing simplicity is another key element. In a world full of distractions and the pursuit of material things, it is easy to lose sight of what is truly important. Stoicism encourages us to let go of unnecessary things and focus on true values. For example, by reducing unnecessary things in your home, you can create space for the things that bring you joy and fulfillment, whether it's time with your family or hobbies. Gratitude also plays an important role in living according to nature. When we focus on what we are grateful for rather than what we lack, we change the way we see the world. Regularly practicing gratitude allows us to notice the positives in life, even when it is difficult. As Epictetus observed, "It is not the events that happen to you, but your attitude toward them that determines your happiness." Environmental responsibility is another important aspect of living according to nature. We must take care of the planet and its resources by making sustainable decisions and reducing waste. For example, by choosing to recycle and reducing the use of plastic, we can contribute to a sustainable future. This respect for nature and its ecosystems helps us strengthen our connection to the world around us. Incorporating mindfulness into our daily lives greatly helps us to live according to nature. Mindfulness allows us to be in the present moment and aware of our actions, which promotes more considered choices. Whether it's meditation, deep breathing, or simply observing nature, these practices help us connect with our inner nature and the world around us, encouraging us to act with intention and mindfulness. Have you considered whether the universe is your helper or your adversary? What if I told you that it depends on how you direct your thoughts and feelings? In this video, we'll talk about how the philosophy of Stoicism and the law of attraction can dramatically transform your life. Yes, that's right. These ancient ideas help you understand what you attract to you. Imagine that your thoughts are like seeds that you plant in your inner garden. If you choose to plant seeds of joy and hope, they will grow and bear the fruits of happiness. However, if you allow fears and doubts to take root, don't be surprised if your garden ends up full of weeds. The universe is always ready to give you new opportunities if you just open your heart. The Stoics taught us that while we cannot control external circumstances, we can control our attitude toward them. Are you ready to take responsibility for your destiny? It all starts with your inner world. Let's explore and develop together the life we all dream of. Each lesson can be the very breakthrough that will change your life for the better. Thoughts and emotions shape our reality. Have you ever wondered how your thoughts and emotions shape the reality you live in? They are like the wind that fills the sails of your ship. If it's a tailwind, you sail toward your goals. If it's a headwind, your journey becomes hard and long. Let's break down exactly how this works. Stoic philosophy states that our inner peace depends on how we perceive and react to the world around us. Don't worry, we won't dive into complex theories. We'll deal with how thoughts and emotions actually affect our daily lives. Imagine that your mind is a garden. If you plant seeds of negative thoughts, like weeds, they will quickly fill the space, overshadowing the beauty. But if you take care of positive thoughts, your garden will become a blooming oasis. So it is in life. When we allow negativity to take over the mind, it becomes a source of constant worry and problems. To make this clearer, imagine yourself directing a movie. If you constantly think your project is doomed to fail, what are the chances that this negative expectation won't affect your work? It's like a screenwriter who prescribes a sad ending for himself. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not over events. However, I am not saying that by simply dreaming for the best, you will get it. The law of attraction is not magic. It's a toolkit for focusing on what really matters and taking steps towards your goals. Think of your thoughts and emotions as a compass. If it points to what you really want, you are very likely to achieve that goal. But if you keep changing direction, don't be surprised to find yourself lost. Are you navigating the rough waters of criticism or enjoying the calm sea of gratitude? Recognizing your mental patterns is the first step to changing course. If you notice that you are drifting into negativity, it's time to turn the wheel. Instead of thinking about what could go wrong, focus on what you can do to improve the situation. If health is a concern, think about steps that will help you reach your goals. Stoic philosophy reminds us that while we can't control the external world, we can control our internal state. When negative thoughts begin to storm your mind, remember, you have the power to adjust your sails and change your path. Take the first step toward positive thinking. It can change everything. Your thoughts and emotions are the tools you use to build the edifice of your life. Changing those tools can help create a stronger and more satisfying structure. As Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The power to shape your destiny is in your hands. Focus on what you want to make it come true. Imagine trying to create a complex pattern with just one old paintbrush. It can be quite frustrating, can't it? You have the desire to create something impressive, but all you end up with is a smear. Imagine that your desires are that pattern, and the law of attraction is that brush. Without a well-prepared brush and a clear intention, your pattern will remain indistinct. This is how important clarity in your desires is. If you are not precise, your efforts will turn into meaningless strokes, and you will not be able to achieve meaningful results. We all have dreams and goals that we strive to realize. Maybe you dream of starting your own business, mastering your culinary skills, or fixing your relationships. But if your focus is as nebulous as the phrase, "I want to change my life," you risk losing your way. The law of attraction is a well-known concept that states that thinking about what you want can lead to its realization, but it requires more than just wishing. It requires specificity. Let's look at a few examples to make things clearer. Imagine that you want to open your own cafe. If you simply say, "I want to open a cafe," the universe can direct you anywhere from a small place in a quiet alley to a bustling establishment in the city center. But if you specify that you dream of a cafe with a cozy atmosphere, a varied menu and friendly staff, your visualization will become a clear goal. You'll be able to pull in exactly the cafe you want instead of relying on chance. Similarly, if you want to master cooking, simply saying, "I want to learn to cook," is not enough. It's as vague as saying you want to read a book without specifying which one. If you say you want to learn to cook Italian food because you plan to have an Italian food night for friends, you create a much clearer goal. It will help you envision yourself in the kitchen, making delicious pastas and sauces for your loved ones. When it comes to developing a new skill, this principle still applies. It's not enough to say, "I want to learn something new." You need to be specific. What specific skill do you want to learn? How much time are you willing to devote to it? If you set a clear goal, for example, to learn to make homemade jewelry in 3 months, studying 2 hours a week, you turn your desire into a concrete plan, not a vague dream. So how do you apply this technique? First, think about what you really want. Write down your goals clearly and visualize as if you have already achieved them. It is not just a matter of wanting, but believing that you have already achieved your goal. Clarity of purpose is the key to making the law of attraction work. As Seneca said, "A man who does not know where he is going will never reach his goal." Define your goals clearly so that the universe can respond with the same precision with which you express your intentions. Belief and conviction. Imagine your dreams are high peaks that seem unattainable, as if you are trying to conquer them without the necessary equipment. The whole point is that faith and belief are like the tools you need to climb successfully. Without them, it's like you're trying to climb without even a rope. Your dreams require faith to stay alive, like a plant needing sunlight to grow. The law of attraction reminds us that faith is a basic element along the way. If you don't believe in your dreams, it's like trying to catch the wind in the palm of your hand, or looking for a star without knowing how to reach it. Lack of belief is the most serious barrier to achieving what you want. You don't need magical powers to turn negative beliefs into positive ones. Look for inspiration in the stories of those who have overcome challenges to achieve their goals. For example, think of the famous artist Van Gogh, who, despite all the difficulties and misunderstandings, continued to believe in his art. It is because of this that his works became world famous. Environment is also of great importance. If you have people around you who believe in your abilities, it is like a team of loyal friends supporting you in the most difficult situations. Think of your dreams as a ship that needs a tailwind. The support of friends and like-minded people is the wind that keeps you moving forward. Keep an optimistic attitude. Life can be unpredictable, but with a positive mindset, every challenge becomes a step towards your goals. Stoic philosophy teaches us to accept what we can't change and to focus on how we respond to circumstances. As Marcus Aurelius said, happiness depends on the inner state, not on external circumstances. When faced with difficulties, courageously turn doubt into determination. Your faith and beliefs are the keys that open the doors to your dreams. By surrounding yourself with supportive people and keeping a positive attitude, you will be surprised how close you are to realizing your desires. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that makes the difference. So don't forget that faith is not just a word, but a powerful tool that can change your path. Gratitude and appreciation. Have you ever wondered why gratitude is heard so often, from lectures to social media posts? It's as if the universe is trying to get the message out to us. Appreciate what you have, and more good things will come into your life. We don't always get exactly what we want, but we can make sure we get what we really need. Let's look deeper into this topic. Expressing gratitude may seem like a simple gesture, like nodding your head. But when you say thank you sincerely, it can produce amazing results. Imagine you find yourself at an art exhibit. You might pass by an artist who has been working on his piece and ignore it, or you might stop and sincerely praise his work. In return, he or she may share with you the story of the painting's creation, or even offer you a unique opportunity to participate in a master class. This is how the power of gratitude works. Your kind words can open doors you never dreamed of. Gratitude isn't just complaining that the rain is interfering with your walk. It's realizing that every drop can water the earth. If you learn to appreciate even the little things, like fresh air or bright moments with friends, you are sending a clear signal to the universe: I am ready for more. It doesn't take anything complicated to implement this into your life, just a little time to reflect. Take a moment to think about what you already have and give thanks for it. It can be something as simple as a cozy blanket or the smell of baking that fills the house. Keeping a gratitude journal where you write down 3 things you are grateful for each day is like creating a personal treasure trove. Instead of just saying, I'm grateful for my health, say, I appreciate every morning when I can wake up without pain. It's details like these that make gratitude real, and on difficult days, try to find at least one small thing you can appreciate. Maybe you lost your keys, but in that moment, you remembered the kind act of a friend who is always there to help. It's like finding joy in the little things. They don't solve all problems, but they make every day a little brighter. Gratitude is not just a word, it is a powerful tool that can transform your perception of reality. When you appreciate what you already have and express gratitude, your mood lifts and you open doors to new possibilities. So when negative thoughts begin to overwhelm you, remember the things you are grateful for. As Marcus Aurelius said, happiness depends on the inner state, not on external circumstances. Gratitude multiplies joy, and if you can't appreciate what you have, you will never truly enjoy what you get. Power of action. The law of attraction is a popular concept that states that you can achieve anything by simply setting your thoughts to positive. Sounds tempting, doesn't it? But what happens when, despite visualizing the perfect life, you still get stuck in a routine? The reality is that dreams don't magically come true. The key to success is inspired action. But what does that mean in practice? Think of the law of attraction as a game of chess. You can strategize all you want, but if you don't start moving your pieces, the game never starts. Inspired action is that first move that launches your strategy and leads to victory. Let's look at this with some concrete examples. You can't expect to become a culinary master by simply sitting on the couch and dreaming about cooking the perfect dish. To achieve this, you need to practice, try new recipes, experiment with ingredients, and even attend cooking classes. Inspired action is the step that will allow you not just to dream of delicious food, but to create it. Here are some practical examples. First, take small steps toward your goals. These steps are like seeds that you plant in the ground. Don't expect them to grow into a big tree right away. Consistency is just as important as effort. Second, follow your passions. What inspires you? Perhaps you enjoy photography, so start by taking one photo every day, studying light and composition. Listen to your inner voice and pursue what really matters to you. And most importantly, don't give up. Patience is the foundation of success. Persistence will keep you on the right path. Results don't always appear immediately, but every small step brings you closer to your goal. As the Stoics teach, willpower and perseverance are important aspects of achieving success. The difficulties we experience do not define us, but how we respond to them does, Epictetus said. So the next time you ponder the law of attraction, remember that it's not just about imagining the perfect life, it's about taking the necessary steps to create it. Inspired action is not just a pretty concept. It is the bridge between your dreams and reality. If you want to see change, stop daydreaming for real and start taking action. It's not that hard, it just takes a little effort and patience. Remember that it is not the law of attraction that makes dreams come true, but the actions you take to achieve them. Get rid of self-limitation. Do you ever feel like you are becoming your own obstacle? Not because you're in a bad mood, but because you may be creating obstacles in your own way without realizing it. Self-sabotage is a phenomenon that is much more common than we realize, and it may have affected you too, even if you didn't realize it. Self-sabotage is like a quiet voice that whispers to you that you are not strong enough to handle challenges. This inner monologue can eat away at your confidence. But what if I told you that you are capable of changing this scenario and taking control of your destiny? The first step is to recognize the problem. Pay attention to the thoughts that are limiting you. It's like recognizing cracks in the walls of a house. If not addressed in time, they can lead to serious consequences. Stoic philosophy can help here. We cannot control all external circumstances, but we can control how we react to them. If your mind is in chaos, use Stoic principles to make a positive change. Visualize your mind as an artist's canvas. If you let the dark colors of fear and doubt take up most of the space, they will overshadow the bright colors of your dreams. But if you start adding shades of confidence and determination, you'll be surprised how your life will take on new colors. This process may take time, but each positive step brings you closer to creating a masterpiece. It's also important to work on your self-esteem. Confidence doesn't come from the outside. You have to build it yourself. It's not about seeking the approval of others. It's about believing in your uniqueness and abilities. As Seneca said, a man who does not know where he is going will never reach his goal. Applying these strategies takes effort, but you have the power to change your script. The law of attraction, which suggests that we attract what we think about, will not work if you are stuck in self-sabotage. Overcoming these mental barriers puts you in a better position to achieve your goals. Self-sabotage can be compared to adjusting your GPS. It's not about changing your route, it's about adjusting your coordinates. So if you feel yourself holding yourself back, start making changes today. Change starts in your mind. Exude what you attract. Imagine that you are like a radio that broadcasts its signals into the vastness of space. This may sound a bit unusual, but think about it. The law of attraction, which sometimes seems magical, states that everything in our world is energy. And you, like everything else, are a transmitter, emitting waves that attract to you what you want, or conversely, what you don't want. When you are in a state of gratitude and happiness, your energy rises to the heavens like a bright day illuminating everything around you. It attracts new positive events and moments, filling your life with light. It's like if you toss a colored balloon into the air and it comes back to you with even more brightness. But sometimes there are days when dark thoughts like clouds overshadow the joy. Every one of us experiences these moments. When you are immersed in negativity, your signals become muffled, like a dark melody that can be depressing. The universe, picking up these low frequencies, can plant new reasons for you to be sad. It is as if you are on the wrong wave. Strive to make time for the things that bring you true pleasure. Exercising, reading a book, taking a walk outdoors. These simple pleasures can boost your energy and put you in a positive frame of mind. Don't forget meditation or even a few deep breaths. They help to readjust your internal clock. Stoics like Epictetus teach us, it is not what happens to us, but how we feel about it that determines our destiny. Instead of letting negative emotions run your life, it is important to consciously respond to them. The energy you emit shapes your perception of the world. The universe may not always respond in the way you expect, but maintaining a positive attitude opens new horizons for joy and fulfillment. Remember that what you radiate will eventually come back to you, so choose your thoughts and emotions with wisdom. As Seneca said, "For a long time you have been what you are. Now become what you want to be." Let go of resistance. Each of us has faced moments when an invisible barrier suddenly appears on the threshold of an important step. It is not a physical barrier, but one that you yourself create in your mind. An inner voice whispers, "You will fail," just when you are ready to make the attempt. This resistance is not an overt adversary, but rather a quiet, unnoticeable obstacle that slows your progress and undermines your confidence. It's like running a marathon with your shoelaces untied. You're moving forward, but constantly stumbling. Imagine your life as a vast, vast field full of possibilities to explore. But instead of moving forward freely, we often put up walls every time the urge to do something new arises. This inner resistance can be compared to a guard that tries to protect us from failure, but at the same time prevents us from achieving success. Suppose you want to start a new project. Instead of focusing on the possibilities, you are immersed in fears about possible failures. It's like standing on the edge of a cliff, looking at a boundless ocean of opportunity, but being bound by a rope of fear. Or you strive to get rid of a bad habit, but see only the effort it will require, like carrying a heavy backpack of doubts on your back, trying to climb a steep mountain. To overcome this inner resistance, it's important to first recognize it. Realizing that it exists, like a watchdog following you, allows you to take control. Uncertainty, Fear of change or attachment to the familiar is what stops you. When you realize this, you shouldn't fight it. Just let it be and watch it gradually fade away. Compare your doubts to leaves being carried away by the wind. You see them, but there is no need to catch them. Let them go by focusing on your sincere desires. Focus your energy on what is truly important to you. Imagine that life is a river. Instead of fighting the current, learn to swim with it. Stoic philosophy reminds us of the importance of accepting what is beyond our control and focusing on what we can change. Instead of resisting change, adapt and take action. Instead of fear, think about what you can gain. Resistance keeps you stagnant, whereas acceptance and optimism move you forward. Resistance is like a shadow stealing your energy. To achieve your dreams, you need to get rid of the fears and doubts that are holding you back. Acknowledge them, let them go, and focus on your true aspirations. This way, you not only utilize the law of attraction more effectively, but also open yourself up to new possibilities and flexible thinking. Remember, where there is resistance, there is stagnation, and where there is fluidity, there is growth and success. The art of patience and time. Let's talk about something we all struggle with but don't always fully understand: time. It's an elusive concept that seems fleeting when we're enjoying the moment and stretches on forever when we're waiting. We often dream of a remote control to rewind to the highlights of life, but alas, it's impossible. Instead of fighting the passage of time, let's learn to live in harmony with it. Today we will discuss patience, a virtue that is admirable but difficult to master, like a perfect pie in the oven. If you try to speed up the process by increasing the temperature, you're likely to fail, a crust that's burnt on the outside and a soggy middle. Patience, on the other hand, leads to slow and thorough cooking, allowing each ingredient to meld and reach perfection. Above all, trust is essential. As the Stoics taught us, we cannot control instant results, only our actions. You can choose the highest quality ingredients and study a recipe, but opening the oven every 5 minutes will not speed up the baking process. It's important to remember that patience is the key to success. Another important aspect is to avoid comparisons. Imagine you are participating in a marathon. Each runner has a different route and a different pace. Comparing yourself to others is like running while looking around instead of forward. It's distracting and takes you away from your goal. Instead of worrying about who is ahead or behind, focus on each step you take. Every kilometer traveled is already an accomplishment that deserves recognition. Small successes may seem insignificant, but each step brings you closer to your goal. It's easy to underestimate such small accomplishments, but they are the ones that make all the difference in the long run. It's like the sparks that start a big fire. One spark may seem insignificant, but together they create a flame. In the context of the law of attraction, it's important to realize that it's not just about positive thinking, but also about action. Positive thinking and constant steps forward are the real drivers of change. Dream big, but act with patience and persistence. Time is not an enemy, but an ally that helps you build your dreams firmly and thoroughly. Patience is not just waiting. It's like planting a tree. You don't expect it to grow overnight, but you water and care for it every day, knowing that in time it will grow strong and tall. Focus on your efforts, celebrate every little success, and remember that the real magic is in the process, not the rush. As Seneca said, nothing happens to him who takes his time. Wait with a peaceful mind, and remember that every second counts, in the making of your cake, in the race of life, and in the growth of your dreams. Take your time, trust the process, and let time do its thing. Get rid of the idea that the universe is against you. Sometimes it feels like the world is working against us. You lose your keys at the worst possible time. the bus leaves a few seconds early, and your phone runs out of battery at a critical moment. It's easy to think that the universe is testing you, but what if it's not? Our perception of the situation can change, and I'll tell you how. Imagine that life is a journey along a winding road. Along the way, there may be unexpected detours and delays in traffic. It's not about fighting the road, it's about learning to enjoy the ride, even when difficulties arise. Even when it feels like you're lost, the universe is still leading you in the right direction. You just need to adjust your focus a bit to establish harmony with the world around you. There are a few simple practices that can help. Let's start with a mindful pause. Pause for a moment and look around you as if you were reading a map to find your direction. Feel the wind on your face, listen to the sounds of nature, breathe in the fresh air. These simple actions allow you to come back to the present moment and reset your inner compass. Another way to tune in is to practice mindfulness. It can be compared to tuning your radio to clear out interference. When you are completely focused on the present, without distractions, it is easier to pick up signals from the universe. For example, when you're preparing a meal, instead of rushing around and thinking about the next thing to do, pay attention to the sound of the ingredients being chopped, the aroma that's coming out, the vibrant colors of the vegetables. Each moment helps you stay in the present and improves your connection to your surroundings. It's also worth paying attention to the power of visualization. Imagine that you have an inner beacon that points your way. Visualize your goals as if they have already been achieved. You are lighting this beacon, sending a clear signal to the universe about your intentions. This is not just a mental exercise. It's like programming your internal GPS to your desired destination. Practicing gratitude fills you with positive energy and affects the atmosphere around you, creating a warmer and more open environment. Stoic philosophy reminds us that while we cannot control all events, we have the power to choose our response to them. Instead of seeing difficulties as enemies, look at them as lessons or detours that can guide you toward unexpected but rewarding goals. Living in alignment with the universe doesn't mean everything will be perfect, but it does mean that you will find inner peace in your journey. So the next time things don't seem to be going your way, remember, you're not at war with the universe, you're participating in the journey. Learn to appreciate every detour and every unexpected stop, trusting that every turn has its own meaning. The universe is not an obstacle, but a guide on this great journey called life. Relax, enjoy the scenery, and let the road take you where you are meant to go. If you sincerely desire something, let it go. Give yourself the opportunity to release the tension and expectation. When you stop clenching your dreams in your fist, you begin to see new possibilities and paths that can lead to what you want. Bring this into your life by filling your heart with gratitude and trust in the universe. Let each day be a step for you toward inner peace and openness to the world. Remember that your desires are not just goals, but pieces of your soul waiting to be manifested. Open yourself to new possibilities and trust the process. Have you ever felt lost in a storm, unable to find your way after a devastating loss? Whether it is the passing of a dear one, the collapse of hopes, or the loss of physical strength, such events can leave us with the feeling that we are rudderless and without winds. But what if there is a way to navigate through these turbulent waters with clarity and calm? Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, offers us a treasure trove of wisdom to help us navigate the waves of change and uncertainty. Let's talk about 10 timeless Stoic principles that will give us the power to transform our attitudes toward loss, strengthen our psychological resilience, and discover a sense of calm in the midst of life's storms. Lesson 1. When material things disappear. Imagine waking up in the morning and finding that everything you've accumulated with so much hard work is gone. This isn't just a loss of things, it's an event that can turn your life upside down. The feeling of emptiness that arises when you lose something that has been a part of your life can be overwhelming. These are not just material objects, but symbols that we associate with our dreams and aspirations. Imagine losing a car that symbolized your freedom or a house that represented stability. The loss of a treasured object of sentimental value can cause a real storm of emotion, but why does it cause us such pain? As the ancient Greek philosopher Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This approach opens our eyes to the fact that material possessions do not define who we are. We are more than our stuff. Think about it. Have you been clinging to material objects, thinking they are essential to your happiness? Stoicism invites us to rethink our real needs. Loss can be an opportunity to explore who we really are without these possessions. Seneca, another great Stoic, argued, "The greatest wealth is to be satisfied with little." When we are faced with loss, it is natural to feel frustration or anger, but the Stoics teach us that the only thing truly under our control is our attitude. We can choose to let go of attachment to material things and focus on what really matters. Marcus Aurelius, philosopher and emperor, wrote, "An obstacle to action advances action. That which stands in the way becomes the way." Instead of allowing loss to break us, we can transform it into an opportunity for growth. Life is full of unexpected twists and turns and changes. No one is immune to change and adversity, but life is waiting for you on the other side of your current loss. Instead of asking why this happened to you, ask yourself what you can learn from this experience. What changes can you make in your life to come out stronger and wiser? Loss can be a catalyst for deep self-reflection and personal growth. After all, we are not defined by our possessions, but by our ability to get up after a fall. You can always turn your loss into an opportunity for growth. Embrace the challenge, find your strength and move forward, for it is in hardship that we find our true self. Lesson 2. Facing inevitability, strength in acceptance. There comes a time in everyone's life when we are faced with inevitability, whether it be separation from a loved one, disappointment in hopes, or the loss of something important. These moments can leave us with a broken heart and an empty soul, like an open wound that is difficult to heal. But it is in moments like these that we can find a path to healing through the ancient philosophy of Stoicism. Encountering inevitability reminds us that not everything is up to us. The Stoics teach us that our attitudes and reactions to events are within our control. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You cannot change the past, but you can change your reaction to it." This thought becomes fundamental in a moment of grief or disappointment. When we are faced with pain, it is important to realize that while suffering is inevitable, the decision to suffer or not is our choice. Rather than drowning in a sea of what-ifs and resentments, Stoicism encourages us to focus on what we can change, our own inner growth and healing. Imagine yourself as a student in the school of life, learning from your mistakes and difficulties. This approach helps us see every loss or disappointment as an opportunity for learning. The pursuit of inner harmony and wisdom is the true power. Wisdom is not about avoiding pain, but about learning from it and becoming stronger. Epictetus said, "Happiness and freedom begin with the acceptance that you cannot control all external circumstances." This acceptance is not a passive stance, but an active process in which we learn to let go of what we cannot change. Meet change as a natural phenomenon of life. Heraclitus correctly observed that everything changes, and only change is permanence. Instead of resisting change, let's use it as an opportunity for personal growth and transformation. Every situation, even the most difficult, carries a lesson. Think about what lessons your current situation is teaching you. How can you become wiser and stronger through this challenge? Accepting inevitability opens doors to new possibilities and helps us find inner peace. So, facing inevitability is not the end, but the beginning of a new journey. It is a chance to rethink your values, strengthen your spirit, and learn to accept life as it is. Your strength lies not in avoiding pain, but in knowing how to deal with it, learning lessons from each experience that will help you grow. Remember, every challenge is an opportunity to become a better person. Don't be afraid of change, because it is change that makes us stronger and wiser. Lesson 3. Weak body, strong mind. When fate tests us physically and the body fails us, it causes our inner world to shake, leaving us feeling helpless. But how do we find inner strength in this vulnerability? The Stoics, the sages of antiquity, knew the pain of physical suffering. Seneca, who faced hardship and illness, said, "When you think all is lost, remember that you are still holding on." This statement encapsulates the essence of resilience. While we cannot change the fact of pain, we can always control how we relate to it. Imagine that you choose to view illness not as an adversary, but as a teacher who teaches you deep inner contemplation. This philosophy helps us accept the inevitable and see limitations as opportunities for growth. The philosopher-emperor Marcus Aurelius, when faced with afflictions, knew that avoiding suffering was impossible, but keeping a bright soul was very realistic. He asserted, "The obstacle becomes you. That which hinders shapes." Illness, though associated with limitations, can be a source of inner growth. What if that physical struggle makes you stronger in your soul? Instead of focusing on the losses and impossibilities, it's important to find what you have left and discover new ways to live fully. Stoicism teaches us to separate what we can control from what is beyond our power. Illness is often beyond our control, but it remains in our hands to decide how to go through the process. Seneca said, "Sometimes just surviving is already a feat." In the darkest days, to keep moving forward is an act of true resilience. We should not idealize a past life before the illness. We often long for the past, wishing we could go back, but living in the past only increases suffering. Stoicism calls for focusing on the present and on acting in the here and now, finding ways to move forward even in difficult times. Think about how your perception would change if you began to see illness as a teacher rather than an enemy. This shift in perspective opens new horizons for self-reflection and personal growth. It is important to remember that we are not alone on this journey. Marcus Aurelius spoke of humanity as a body where each part is connected to the other. While illness can create a sense of loneliness, in times like these, it is especially important to remember that the support of others is the key to resilience. Accepting help and sharing our pain with others who have gone through similar trials can open our eyes to a central truth about the fragility of life. Everything is temporary, even pain. And even on the darkest days, there is a way to find the light. What if you saw each new day as an opportunity, even in the midst of illness? Resilience is not about denying hardship, but about making the most of every moment, accepting limitations, but never losing hope. In conclusion, it is important to gain mental strength and live with clarity and calmness despite all difficulties. A weak body can test us, but a strong mind can overcome any obstacle. Learn to find light even in the shadows, and let inner growth become your guiding star. Every challenge is a chance to become better, wiser, and stronger. Lesson 4. Understanding life and accepting losses. The relentless flow of time, like an eternal river, brings with it both joy and sorrow. Each meeting and parting is but a moment in the endless dance of life, With time, we realize that those we love may be gone, leaving emptiness and memories. But how do we find the inner strength to stay strong in the face of endless loss? The ancient philosophy of Stoicism, like an old tree, teaches us to be strong and calm in the midst of storms of emotion. One of the greatest exponents of Stoicism experienced the loss of several of his children during his lifetime. Despite his pain, he recorded, "Everything we love, realizing that it is temporary." These words, though they sound harsh, carry a profound truth. Nothing in this world is eternal. First, the Stoics teach us to accept the inevitable. Death is an inevitable part of life, and we are powerless to change its course. Epictetus said, "Do not speak of something you have lost, rather say that you have gained it back." This change of perspective doesn't lessen our pain, but it does help us realize that we are only here for a little while. What if instead of grieving, we began to turn our attention to gratitude for all the moments we spent together? Stoicism will teach us to see loss not only as pain, but also as a deep recognition of that person's value in our lives. Another important principle of Stoicism is to focus only on what we can control. We cannot change the past, but we can decide how to keep the departed in our minds. Seneca said, "Live as if you must give back everything you love, because in the end, nothing belongs to us forever." This reminder helps us appreciate every moment. Stoicism also teaches us to embrace our emotions without letting them lord it over us. Pain and mourning are natural stages, but being frozen in them only intensifies suffering. Death is unjust but inevitable, Marcus Aurelius reminded us. Accept your pain as part of your love, without letting it overwhelm you. Stoic resilience is not about denying feelings, but accepting change. Loss is not the end, but only a transition into a new reality. As Heraclitus said, "Only change is permanent. When someone leaves, remember that every moment with them stays with you." When loss comes, ask yourself, how can I weave the memories of him or her into my life so that they bring me peace and not just pain? Understanding life and accepting loss is the path to transformation. By revisiting memories, we can create space for love and gratitude, not just grief. Let this be your way of honoring those who have passed away by allowing them to live on in your thoughts and actions. Ultimately, life is full of change and loss, but each of us has the ability to find meaning in these trials. Stoicism offers us wisdom and strength, allowing us to not only experience loss, but to learn from it for the future. Find inner strength by accepting the inevitable, and allow your memories to be a source of peace and inspiration, not just pain. Lesson 5. Accepting loss of opportunity. Each of us faces loss, whether it be missed opportunities, setbacks, or changes that are beyond our control. How we perceive these situations determines our emotional and spiritual state. In this context, the Stoics' view of loss and bereavement offers us a new path, a path of acceptance that, while not without its difficulties, can lead to deeper understanding and personal growth. Stoicism teaches us to see loss not as an end, but as a beginning. Marcus Aurelius said, "You will not lose what is not yours." This thought reminds us that the world around us is fickle, and our attachment to things, ideas, or opportunities can bring more suffering than joy. When one opportunity slips away, it can be a sign that it was not meant for us. Stoicism invites us to shift our focus from what we have lost to what we can do now. The past is no longer in our hands, but what we do now is in our control. How can we use the lessons of loss to prepare for the future? Like Louis Pasteur, who experienced many failures, seeing them only as opportunities for improvement, we can reframe our own losses as a chance for growth. Every defeat is an opportunity for learning, for self-development, and for overcoming ourselves. Epictetus reminded us to complain about the unchangeable is meaningless. The future is filled with possibilities, but we can only see them when we free ourselves from the shackles of the past. What new opportunity might we miss today if we are too caught up in the shadows of the past? Resilience comes from the ability to accept loss and move on. When one door closes, another opens. This idea that behind every loss is a new opportunity can be a powerful source of motivation. We can use Stoic wisdom to turn loss into an incentive to seek new horizons. The next time we feel like we've missed an opportunity, let's ask ourselves, what can this loss teach us? How can we move forward with even more determination and wisdom? Instead of getting stuck in regret, we can redirect our energy to exploring new paths and opportunities. Applying Stoic practices to our daily lives can help us learn to accept loss. We can start by keeping a journal in which we analyze our emotions and lessons learned from loss. This will allow us to structure our thoughts and increase our awareness of what we can control. Accepting the loss of opportunities is not just a process of experiencing. It is a path to inner growth and development that opens up new horizons for us. Using Stoic wisdom, we can learn to transform loss into motivation to achieve new goals. Let each loss be a lesson that strengthens our resolve to move forward and opens doors to new possibilities. Lesson 6. The wisdom of aging. In the flow of time, like a vast ocean, each of us sails our own course. However, when we look at our reflection in the mirror and see that our youth is gone, we are faced with the question, how do we accept this change? The Stoics taught us that accepting inevitable change is the key to inner peace. The wisdom that comes with age is like a treasure accumulated along life's journey. It not only adorns our inner world, but also serves as a support in times of life's storms. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Time is not something we can hold on to, but we can learn to swim in its current." Each wrinkle, like a river's mark in the sand, becomes a testament to our life's journey. They are reminders of the milestones past, the joys and sorrows that have made us who we are today. Aging can be compared to an old oak plank. As the years pass, life becomes richer, imbued with wisdom and humility before inevitable change. Like the roots of an old tree, we take root in the soil of time, accepting each new season of life. Our life experiences, like branches, extend in different directions, forming a unique pattern on the canvas of existence. The Stoics urge us not to live in the past, remembering our youth only with nostalgia. Instead, the days of our maturity can be filled with moments of clarity and acceptance. Each new day is an opportunity to live it fully, with love and wisdom, building our lives as a work of art. True happiness comes when we begin to see aging not as a loss, but as a transition to a new stage, like the blossoming of a fresh flower after winter. Every moment of life is a precious gift that we can open with gratitude and an open heart. Like an ancient bridge connecting the past to the present, we can pass through time with dignity and wisdom, strengthened by the lessons that have come to us over the years. Each of us is a traveler through time, and each day brings new lessons and opportunities for growth. It is not worth fighting the passage of time. It is better to float in it, accepting each wave as part of your journey. This acceptance is where the true wisdom of aging is lived. Aging is not the end, but the beginning of a new phase of life, where we can deepen our knowledge, reassess our priorities, and rediscover ourselves. Like an old friend who comes through in times of need, the wisdom accumulated over the years becomes our compass to guide us in the turbulent ocean of life. Thus, The wisdom of aging is not only a realization of the inevitability of time, but also an opportunity to plunge into the depths of one's inner world, enriching it with experience and understanding. Every day is a chance to create something meaningful that will stay with us and inspire others. When we embrace aging as part of our journey, we embrace life in its fullness, becoming wiser, stronger, and more whole. Lesson 7. How to cope with financial loss. When financial loss shrouds us in the darkness of disappointment, Stoicism offers a candle of hope in this bleak environment. Like the alchemist who transforms lead into gold, we can turn our monetary losses into valuable lessons and opportunities. Imagine yourself as an entrepreneur whose startup has failed due to economic hardship. Instead of wallowing in discouragement and self-blame, a resilient mindset will allow you to reframe the situation and learn from it. Like Benjamin Franklin, for example, who after many failures became one of America's greatest inventors, you may discover new strengths and possibilities. The Stoics teach us that our worth is not measured by a bank account. Like Julius Caesar, who lost the battle but didn't give up, you can emerge from financial difficulties with your head held proudly high and a new plan of action. Epictetus wisely said, "Destiny is not to wait, but to act." This means that instead of trying to hold water, we should start building a raft that will withstand the storms of financial hardship. Taking responsibility for our actions and their consequences is the first step to recovery. When we face financial difficulties, it's important to assess the situation soberly. Think about what factors led to the loss. Were they in your control or not? This will help you understand what you can change in the future. Learn from your mistakes to avoid repeating them. Examples from history show that failures can be catalysts for greatness. Steve Jobs, who failed at the company he himself founded, came back with new ideas and created a global technology giant. His story inspires us. Even after loss, you can come back stronger with a new flame of passion and purpose. When financial waves flood your ship, remember the Stoic wisdom. It's not in the strength of the blow, but in the flexibility of the sails. Flexibility and the ability to adapt to new conditions are key qualities that will help you overcome challenges. Instead of resisting change, try to adjust to the new direction. Pay attention to the opportunities that may arise from the change. Sometimes the loss of one opportunity opens the door to a whole new perspective. Financial losses can be hard, but they can also be a powerful stimulus for growth and development. Let these losses be your guide to new horizons and accomplishments. By applying Stoic wisdom, you can turn challenges into opportunities, gaining confidence and wisdom every step of the way. After all, it is in adversity that we find our true strength. Lesson 8. Rebirth in solitude. In a world where hustle and bustle and noise often drown out our inner voices, solitude acts as a secluded island to which we accidentally or intentionally find ourselves. It's not just the physical absence of those around us, but an emotional void that can be both a challenge and an opportunity. Loneliness is a time when we come face to face with ourselves, when the shadow of loss and disappointment is revealed in all its depth. Solitude provides a unique opportunity to plunge into the deepest depths of one's soul. Here we can explore those corners of ourself that go unnoticed in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. It is a space for reflection, where we can ask ourselves important questions. Who are we really? What is important to us? What are our true desires and fears? Stoicism encourages us not to reject solitude, but rather to face it with dignity and wisdom. Epictetus teaches us to see it as an opportunity for growth and self-discovery, emphasizing that our inner state is more important than our surroundings. In solitude, we can learn to be in harmony with ourselves. which is the basis for resilience in all of life's circumstances. Marcus Aurelius, in his reflections, sheds light on the fact that in moments of solitude we can gain a new level of self-understanding and resilience. He encourages us to see this time as an opportunity not only for introspection, but also for strengthening our inner selves. Solitude becomes a moment for personal transformation when we can re-examine our values and priorities. Seneca reminds us that true company with ourselves is the key to inner peace and strength. He argues that our happiness and harmony should not depend on external circumstances, but should be the result of our inner state. In solitude, we can develop inner virtues such as patience, humility, and compassion, which become the foundation for our emotional well-being. Solitude, while it can be a challenge, is also an opportunity for deep self-discovery. It allows us to accept ourselves as we are, without external pressures or expectations. In these moments we can recognize our strengths and weaknesses and learn to live in harmony with ourselves. This is the path to self-acceptance and inner peace. To make the most of loneliness, it is helpful to practice self-reflection. Keeping a journal, meditating, or just quietly reflecting can help you better understand your emotions and thoughts. By creating space for such reflection, we can deepen our connection to our inner self and discover new aspects of our personality. Thus, let every moment of solitude be a chance for us to get to know ourselves better, develop resilience, and cultivate inner virtues. Solitude is not the end, but the beginning of a new journey full of opportunities for growth and self-discovery. In this acceptance of solitude, we find true wisdom that allows us to become stronger and more harmonious. Each of us can learn to use our moments of solitude as stepping stones to rebirth and inner enlightenment. Lesson 9. Rethinking personal identity. There are times in life when losing a job or changing career paths make us wonder, who am I now without this part of myself that I lost? These experiences provoke deep reflection on our personal identity and how we define ourselves in a world where professional achievement is often the primary indicator of our worth. In seeking to define ourselves through our professional activities, we often forget that our true value is not in what we do, but in our qualities and character. Stoicism reminds us that our true self is not dependent on our status or profession. Epictetus taught that the true self cannot be found outside of ourselves. Our identity is not our profession, but our inner world, our values, beliefs, and attitudes toward others. The wisdom of Marcus Aurelius is that true greatness is found in the ability to remain calm and wise in the face of change and adversity. Losing a professional role can be a challenge, but also an opportunity for personal growth. It offers a chance to rethink our goals, priorities, and even what we consider important in life. For Stoics, the key aspect is that we have control over our reactions. We can't change the past, but we can change our attitudes toward it and rethink our values. This requires us to be deeply self-reflective and willing to look at ourselves with honesty. How do we respond to change? How can we use these challenges to grow? Success from a Stoicism perspective is not only about achievement in the professional realm, but also the ability to tolerate life's challenges. It is the ability to develop inner strength and wisdom that will help us face challenges. When we realize that our identity is not tied to a profession, we open doors to new opportunities and approaches to life. All of this can be a starting point for reinventing ourselves and discovering new possibilities. It may be a time to explore new interests, to develop skills that previously seemed out of our reach. As the wise Stoic said, hidden in every challenge are new opportunities for personal growth. If you are facing the loss of your professional self, ask yourself, how can I use this turnaround to become stronger and wiser? What new horizons can I discover for myself? This is a time to question what is really important in life and how you can integrate that into your new identity. Redefining personal identity is not only a challenge, but also a unique opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Strive to see this process as more than just a loss. It is a chance to create a new version of yourself based on a deep understanding of your values and true nature. When we release our attachment to our professional identity, we open the way to greater inner peace and harmony. Lesson 10. Living in the flux of change. Life reminds us that the only constant in life is change. The world around us is constantly moving, and this dynamic sometimes causes us anxiety and fear. We can feel lost in a world where everything is changing at such a rapid pace that it's hard to keep up. However, in this chaos, it is worthwhile to look for opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Stoicism teaches us not to fight change, but to accept it with dignity and calm. As Epictetus said, "It is not the event itself that matters, but our reaction to it. We cannot control the world around us, but we can control our reactions to it." This ability to accept change as part of life helps us find inner peace, even in the most tumultuous times. Marcus Aurelius's wisdom lies in the understanding that the universe is a constant change, and our lives are defined by how we adapt to those changes. He emphasized that change is not a cause for fear, but a chance for growth. When we begin to see change as an opportunity, we open ourselves up to new horizons and perspectives. It can be a new phase in life that leads to unexpected and positive results. When we encounter challenges or unexpected twists and turns, it is important to ask ourselves, what can I learn from this change? How can I use this experience for my own growth? This practice of self-reflection allows us to turn negative situations into valuable lessons. Instead of getting stuck in regrets about what was, we can focus our energy on creating the future. The key to wisdom and peace of mind is not to avoid change, but to embrace it with clarity and a willingness to adapt. Stoicism offers us tools to remain resilient in the face of uncertainty. For example, we can practice gratitude for every experience, even if it is painful. This changes our perspective and helps us see the potential for growth in the situation. The next time life presents you with an unexpected change, ask yourself, how can I use the lessons of Stoicism to embrace and utilize this new path? It may be worth writing down your thoughts and feelings to better understand what it is that is causing you anxiety. This will help you not only to analyze the situation, but also to see it from a different perspective. Don't forget that change often opens the door to new opportunities. Perhaps it's a chance to start a new project, learn something new, or meet interesting people. It is important to remain open to new ideas and approaches, even if they are outside of our comfort zone. Living in a stream of change requires us to be flexible, open-minded, and willing to improve ourselves. By applying Stoic wisdom, we can not only experience change, but make it part of our growth. Remember that every challenge carries the potential for personal growth. After all, it is in change that we find the opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more whole. In each of these lessons, there is a common motif. Change and loss, though they may be painful, are necessary steps on the path to personal development and self-awareness. By applying Stoic wisdom, we learn to see life as a dynamic process in which every loss, every change, and every moment of loneliness becomes an opportunity for growth. We can choose how to respond to complexity and change, and in that choice lies true strength. By opening ourselves to new perspectives and accepting ourselves as we are, we not only enrich our inner world, but also create space for new beginnings. In this way, a life of change becomes not just a challenge, but a majestic journey of self-discovery, wisdom, and inner peace. Have you ever felt that someone opposes your every word and action just for the pleasure of making you uncomfortable? Imagine a young man who is preparing for an important presentation at work. He has put a lot of time and effort into his preparation, but one of his colleagues is constantly criticizing his ideas and questioning his abilities. At the point where he begins to doubt himself, he decides to ask his colleague 3 questions. The colleague, realizing that his criticism was not constructive, agrees. The first question is, "Do you think my ideas might be useful?" The colleague replies that probably not. He then asks if he has done anything to deserve such criticism. The colleague again replies that he has not. Finally, he asks why then the one criticizes so actively. A colleague responds, "Because I can't stand that you can succeed. There will always be people in life who will oppose you." Each of us has encountered such personalities, whether it's a jealous co-worker, an unfriendly acquaintance, or even a loved one. By applying the philosophy of Stoicism, you will be better able to deal with envy and conflict coming from others. Stoicism offers a practical approach to life, focusing on what we can control and accepting what is beyond our influence. If you don't take a firm stand, you may be overwhelmed by others, including those who don't support you. Being resilient doesn't mean keeping quiet and bearing grudges. It means controlling your emotions and thinking carefully about your actions. We invite you to learn more about these timeless concepts that will help you live with greater wisdom and ease. Let's discuss how Stoicism can help you face challenges without resorting to conflict. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. Ignore intentionally. There is no such thing as a play without an audience. Being ignored can be deeply frustrating, but it's a feeling you can use to your advantage. Try intentionally ignoring those who are trying to hurt or provoke you. This simple but effective strategy requires considerable self-control, because you are consciously choosing not to respond to provocative words or actions. Remember that the power of some people lies in their ability to elicit emotional reactions. For example, imagine an athlete who is confronted with an unkind comment from the audience at a competition. Instead of letting these words throw him off balance, he decides to focus on his game, ignoring the noise around him. As Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This emphasizes the importance of controlling your emotions. When you ignore provocations, you cut off their source of power, showing that they have no impact on your emotional state or decisions. Instead of spending time thinking about responses or retaliation, you begin to use that time on the truly important things in your life. You decide what role each person plays in your inner world. Instead of feeling victimized, you can choose to be wise and refuse to participate in the conflict. This decision not only protects you from negative emotions, but also helps you develop resilience and a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. By following this path, you become architects of your happiness and guardians of inner peace. Choose to ignore negativity and focus on what is truly important, and you will see how it will transform your life. Win by using your head. It's not only the approach that matters in conflict resolution, but also the ability to use creative strategies to avoid open confrontations. Instead of getting bogged down in arguments and conflict, we can use our thinking to find peaceful and productive solutions. Imagine a work group facing a major disagreement over the direction of a new project. 2 co-workers, each sure they are right, begin to argue, but instead of delving into the conflict, one of them suggests brainstorming. He invites all team members to express their ideas and views, creating a safe space for discussion. As Seneca said, "No one can be free unless he owns himself." This principle emphasizes that controlling one's emotions and reactions is key to successful interactions. Instead of reacting to provocation, we can take a moment to pause and reflect on the situation. In a brainstorming session, each team member gets a chance to express their thoughts. Not only does this foster deeper elaboration of an idea, but it also strengthens team spirit. People begin to feel that their opinions matter, and this reduces tension. Instead of conflict, collaboration is born. Moreover, this approach allows the team to identify the strengths of each participant. For example, one employee may be an expert in technical aspects, another in marketing. By combining their knowledge, they can create a more cohesive and effective plan than if they each acted alone. This way, instead of fighting each other, the team becomes a cohesive unit where every contribution is valuable. Not only does this simplify the decision-making process, but it also helps everyone involved feel like they are part of something bigger. By showing intelligence and creativity, we not only avoid unnecessary conflict, but also demonstrate leadership skills. We show that we are capable of controlling a situation by mentally analyzing it and finding the best ways to achieve goals. This approach not only strengthens working relationships, but also helps to create a more productive and harmonious atmosphere in the team. Ultimately, using sound strategies to resolve conflicts is a path to personal and collective freedom. It is a choice that allows us to act with understanding and respect for those around us, and as a result, lead to more successful and happier collaboration. Turn adversaries into teachers. There is a concept in Stoic philosophy that encourages us to transform adversity into opportunities for growth. Instead of seeing adversaries only as enemies, we can see them as teachers who help us expose our weaknesses and identify areas for improvement. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like the one who harms us." This principle reminds us that responding to aggression with anger only makes the situation worse. Instead, it's worth using challenges to build your resilience and self-awareness. Imagine a situation where a young manager faces criticism from his or her boss. Instead of being offended or responding in the same way, he decides to analyze the criticism and see if there is any truth to it. This opportunity teaches him to be more mindful of his actions and improve his team management skills. When we are met with rudeness, responding to it with the same coin makes us just as impolite. By practicing tolerance and calmness, we can turn obstacles into a path to self-improvement. Marcus Aurelius also advises us to stop and think before criticizing others. What mistake do I have that is most like the one I am about to criticize? This approach helps develop humility and empathy. We begin to realize that we ourselves are not blameless and have no right to judge others. Instead of harboring negative feelings toward our adversaries, let's be grateful for the lessons they can teach us. Every conflict is an opportunity for self-discovery and personal growth. Imagine what a famous hero would be like without all the hardships he faced. He would be just an ordinary man if it weren't for his enemies and trials. They are what made him a legend. By changing your perception of your adversaries from threats to opportunities for growth, you change the dynamics of the relationship. They may continue to dislike you, but you no longer waste your energy and time on them. Instead, you focus on your own growth and wisdom, which ultimately brings you true peace of mind. Recognize that your enemy is not the cause of your suffering. Our inner feelings are often not determined by the actions of others, but by how we perceive and interpret those actions. An adversary can be a real teacher to us, reflecting our own weaknesses and helping us see where we react emotionally without thinking. As Epictetus said, "It is not the events around us that make us upset, but our judgments about them." This thought emphasizes that it is our perceptions that shape our emotional response to events. Even in difficult moments when we feel like the outside world is disturbing our peace, it's important to remember that we have the power to choose how to respond. Imagine you work on a team and one of your colleagues constantly criticizes your ideas. Instead of being offended and angry, you decide to analyze his criticism and ask yourself some questions. Why did it hurt me so much? What is it about his words that causes me to react in this way? This approach helps you realize that it may not only be his opinion, but also your own fears and insecurities about your ideas that are causing the negative emotions. This discovery can be the beginning of a path to personal growth. Your adversaries can serve as a mirror, reflecting aspects of your personality that need attention. Instead of blaming them for your failures or bad moods, you can begin to ask yourself deep questions about your feelings and reactions. This changes the dynamics of your life. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and begin to recognize your opportunities for growth. When you take responsibility for your emotional responses, you open yourself up to greater inner freedom. This allows you to develop a more balanced approach to life, where your reactions become more conscious and rational. This change in perspective brings not only peace of mind but also joy. You realize that your strength and courage are not dependent on the actions of others. This frees up tremendous potential for personal growth and development, allowing you to become more resilient and confident. Ultimately, your judgment is the key to your emotional well-being. By consciously approaching your reactions, you can not only improve the quality of your life, but also become a wiser and more resilient person. Choose to forgive. Forgiveness is not just an act of kindness. It is a powerful tool to release the burden of resentment and anger. When we forgive, we not only free ourselves from negative emotions, but we also affirm our strength and nobility. This means that we choose not to lock away bad feelings, but to open ourselves up to the world. As Epictetus said, "Forgiveness is superior to revenge because it demonstrates kindness." This principle emphasizes that revenge only reinforces cycles of anger and hatred, whereas forgiveness creates space for healing and understanding. Imagine a situation where someone close to you betrays your trust, for example, by telling a secret you've confided in them. Instead of shutting down and nurturing the resentment, you decide to talk to him or her. You express your feelings and explain how his actions hurt you. This open communication helps you both understand each other better. By choosing forgiveness, you release feelings of anger and resentment, realizing that this person can be wrong too. This doesn't mean you have to forget what happened or continue to trust him unconditionally, but you stop letting the situation control your life. Forgiveness is an act that takes courage. For example, in one story, a teacher was confronted with the rude behavior of a student who constantly interrupted her in class. Instead of responding harshly and punishing him, she decided to find out what was behind his behavior. It turned out that the boy was having difficulties in his family and was trying to draw attention to himself. Instead of punishing him, the teacher offered him help and support, which eventually changed his attitude and behavior. When we practice forgiveness, we not only lessen the negative influence of those around us, but we also help create a more harmonious atmosphere around us. This new approach changes the dynamics of the relationship. You stop being part of the problem and become part of the solution. Choosing to forgive allows us to grow as individuals, expanding our understanding and moral strength. As the story of the teacher shows, choosing love and kindness over anger not only benefits others, but also enriches ourselves. By forgiving, we rise above our primitive instincts and show that we are capable of more than simply responding to evil. Ultimately, forgiveness is a path to inner peace and growth. It allows us not only to let go of resentment, but also to become stronger and wiser, able to influence the world around us in a positive way. The power of direct confrontation. An important strategy for solving problems without fighting is the ability to confront difficulties directly. This doesn't mean showing physical force or aggression. It's about confidently marking your boundaries and defending your position. It's important to remember that every situation is unique. For example, if you are facing displeasure from your boss, the approach should be more delicate. Confrontation doesn't mean fighting. It means being willing to stand up for your interests and opinions without allowing others to overstep their boundaries. If you don't stand firm, those around you may begin to see you as a victim, which will only exacerbate the problem. Stoics remind us that we have the power to choose how to respond to difficult situations. This empowers us to make informed decisions that are in line with our values. For example, imagine that you work on a team and one of your co-workers consistently ignores your ideas in a meeting. Instead of remaining silent and harboring resentment, you can bluntly say, "I value your opinion, but it's important to me that you listen to my ideas as well." This approach not only protects your interests, but also shows that you are willing to have an open dialogue. Every minute spent thinking about how someone has wronged you is a minute taken away from your personal growth. Realizing your worth has to come from within, and no one can do it for you. By focusing on yourself, you take responsibility for your emotions and reactions. This allows you to free yourself from worrying about the opinions of those who don't value you. Your self-confidence and ability to face problems directly opens the door to self-discovery and development. Thus, the ability to face problems directly is not only a way to protect your interests, but also a path to inner peace and self-esteem. When you take responsibility for your reactions, you become the master of your life, overcoming barriers and achieving virtue, wisdom, and happiness. Control is always yours. You are the only one in control of your emotions and inner world. When someone affects you, it is only because you have allowed it to happen. No one has the power to destroy your peace or take away your smile, because the control of your feelings is completely in your hands. As Marcus Aurelius observed, "Choose not to be damaged, and you won't feel damaged." This thought emphasizes that our perception of a situation is the key to our emotional state. Even if someone wishes you harm, it doesn't have to affect you if you don't allow it to happen. Imagine you work in a team, and one of your colleagues is constantly criticizing your ideas. Instead of allowing his words to upset you, you may realize that his negative behavior reflects more of his internal issues than your shortcomings. You choose not to respond to his provocations and focus on your goals. It's important to remember that it doesn't matter how many enemies you have. It is much more important how many people you do not consider enemies and have no anger toward them. Your inner harmony does not depend on the opinion of others, but on your own attitude to yourself. Every minute spent thinking about how someone has wronged you is a minute taken away from your personal growth. Your emotions are your business, and only you decide how to respond to them. Therefore, you have the power to change your life, including how you perceive negative influences from others. It is important not to let other people's desires and opinions determine how you feel about yourself. When you realize your power and responsibility for your emotions, you become the master of your life. You choose how to respond to difficulties, and this leads to inner peace and fulfillment. Your enemies lose power over you when you choose not to let them influence your condition. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness practice is a powerful tool for maintaining inner peace and controlling our emotions in difficult situations. It helps us become more attentive to our thoughts and feelings, allowing us to respond to external circumstances with greater clarity and poise. This wisdom emphasizes that our reactions depend on our perceptions. When we practice mindfulness, we learn to observe our thoughts and emotions rather than merge with them. Imagine you are on public transportation and someone starts cursing at you for taking a seat. Instead of responding with aggression, you remember to practice mindfulness. You take a deep breath and realize that this situation is not worth your time and energy. You can simply smile and say, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you." This simple action helps you maintain inner peace and avoid unnecessary conflict. Practicing mindfulness not only allows us to better control our emotions, but also allows us to develop a deeper understanding of ourselves. The more you practice mindfulness, the easier it becomes to recognize when your peace of mind begins to be disturbed, and the faster you can bring yourself back to a state of harmony. In this way, mindfulness is not only a way to respond to stressful situations, but also a path to personal growth. When you are aware of your thoughts and feelings, you become the master of your life by making conscious decisions that are in line with your values. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, events cannot harm you unless you allow them to do so. By practicing mindfulness, you choose not to let external circumstances rule your inner state. This makes you more resilient to the challenges of life and helps you maintain peace of mind. Reframing the situation is a powerful strategy for changing the perception of negative events and finding opportunities for growth in them. This technique not only helps you cope with difficulties, but also helps you develop a more positive attitude toward life. As Seneca said, "Difficulties do not hinder us, but help us." This statement emphasizes that hidden in every problem is the potential for personal growth and self-improvement. For example, you received a rejection on a job offer you were hoping for. Instead of wallowing in self-defeat and thinking, "I'm a failure," try reframing this situation. "This is an opportunity to find a job that really fits me." This approach helps you see that rejection is not the end, but a chance to open new doors and explore other options that may be a better fit for you. Reframing the situation also helps you deal with conflicts in your personal life. For example, if your partner forgot about an important event, instead of seeing it as a betrayal, you can say to yourself, "Perhaps he had his own reasons, and it doesn't reflect how he feels about me." This perspective allows you to avoid unnecessary tension and opens the door to constructive dialogue. The benefits of reformulating are clear. Not only do you retain your peace of mind, but you also develop flexibility in your thinking. This allows you to adapt to change and find solutions in the most difficult situations. Thus, reformulating a situation is not just a way of coping, but a powerful tool for personal growth. When you learn to change your judgments and perceptions, you become the master of your life, able to learn from every situation and move forward with confidence and positivity. Today we discussed how the philosophy of Stoicism can help us deal with envy and conflict that comes from others. Stoicism teaches us to realize that we are only in control of our own thoughts and reactions, while the behavior of others remains outside of our influence. When we encounter envious or unkind people, it is important to remember that their emotions do not determine our worth. By applying Stoic principles, we can maintain inner peace and confidence. We learn to set healthy boundaries and respond to challenges with clarity and resilience. Remember that every conflict is an opportunity for growth. Instead of allowing negative emotions to control you, use them as a stimulus for self-reflection and improvement. In this way, you will not only protect yourself from external pressures, but you will also become stronger and wiser. Did you know that many successful people have made bold moves that changed their lives? What do you think they have in common? Let's explore together and find out how boldness and inner strength can help us achieve more. Today we're going to talk about an important topic that touches each of us: how boldness can lead to success in everyday life. We'll also look at how the philosophy of Stoicism can support us along the way. Boldness is the courage and determination to act, even when there is risk or uncertainty ahead. It is not simply the absence of fear, but the ability to act in spite of it. Boldness is the willingness to challenge difficult circumstances, to be proactive, and to be proactive in situations that may seem daunting. When we talk about boldness, we are referring to the willingness to step outside the box and take a step into the unknown. This can manifest itself in various aspects of life, from career decisions to personal relationships. Boldness implies confidence in one's actions and a desire to achieve goals, even when those around you may doubt or caution. In our world, where fear and uncertainty often reign, boldness becomes an important quality that allows us to overcome obstacles and move forward. It inspires us not to be afraid of making mistakes and to embrace them as part of the path to success. Imagine a situation where you decide to change jobs. This can be a very difficult decision, especially if you work for a stable company and are afraid of uncertainty. However, boldness allows you to take this step to find a more interesting and suitable job for you. You step out of your comfort zone and open new horizons. Another example is starting your own business. Many people dream of becoming entrepreneurs, but the fear of failure and financial risk stops them. Bold people understand that risk is part of the game and are willing to invest their time and resources to realize an idea. They make the decision to act even if they are unsure of the outcome. Another case in point is public speaking. For many people, this is a scary step, but if you decide to speak at a conference or share your ideas on a blog, you're being bold. You risk facing criticism, but you also open the door to new opportunities and contacts. Finally, boldness can manifest itself in personal relationships. For example, when you decide to talk openly with a loved one about your feelings despite the fear of rejection. This takes courage, but can lead to stronger relationships and better understanding. These examples show that boldness is not just courage, but an active pursuit of change and new experiences. It is present in many different aspects of our lives and can be the key to success. Boldness plays a key role in how we make decisions and act in different situations. It helps us overcome the fears and doubts that often stop us from achieving our goals. First, boldness allows us to step out of our comfort zone. The comfort zone is where we feel safe and confident. However, this is where we often get stuck, avoiding risk and new challenges. But it is the momentum that pushes us to take a step outside of that zone. It drives us to make decisions that can be critical to our growth and development. For example, when we are faced with a career opportunity or a change of direction in life, fear of failure can cloud the mind. Boldness allows us to look at these situations differently. Instead of dwelling on negative scenarios, we begin to look at the opportunities and potential benefits. We realize that each setback is just a step on the road to success. Second, boldness fosters more confident action. When we make a bold decision, we create motivation for next steps. This character quality helps us to not only initiate action, but to continue even when difficulties arise. This is because bold action strengthens our belief in ourselves and our abilities. In addition, boldness also helps us deal better with criticism and the opinions of others. When we act boldly, we become less dependent on external factors and opinions. It gives us the freedom to make decisions that are in line with our desires and goals, rather than the expectations of others. Ultimately, it is a strength that helps us overcome internal barriers and move forward. It inspires us to make proactive decisions that can change our lives for the better. And while there may be fears and doubts along the way, it is boldness that allows us to face the future with courage and discover new possibilities. Stoicism asserts that true happiness and inner peace are not achieved through external circumstances, but through inner harmony. Stoics believe that we cannot control what happens around us, whether it be the circumstances of life, the opinions of others, or even world events. We can, however, control our reaction to these events. This means that it is important to learn to distinguish between what is dependent on us and what is not. Stoics teach that emotions such as anger, fear, or anxiety can distort our perception of reality. Learning how to manage these emotions helps us make smarter decisions. Stoics also emphasize the importance of accepting what we cannot change. Instead of wasting energy fighting circumstances, Stoics teach us to focus on what we can control, our actions and thoughts. They also often practice reflection and introspection to understand their goals and aspirations. This helps them to live in accordance with their values and not give in to outside influences. Stoicism is thus a powerful tool for personal growth and development. It helps us to remain calm and confident in difficult situations and to develop the inner strength needed to achieve our goals. To better understand how boldness and stoicism can go together, let's look at a few historical examples of famous Stoics who were bold in their actions. Seneca is one of the most famous Stoics who not only philosophized but actively put his ideas into practice. In his letters and treatises, he encouraged courage and action despite the difficulties he faced. Seneca endured many trials, including political intrigue and exile. Nevertheless, he continued to share his thoughts on the importance of being bold and not being afraid of change. He argued that boldness was necessary not only to achieve success, but also to stay true to one's principles in difficult times. Epictetus was another prominent Stoic who was born into slavery and became a respected philosopher despite this. His teachings were based on the idea that freedom and inner peace do not depend on external circumstances, but on our attitude towards them. Epictetus taught that boldness lies in the ability to make decisions and act, even when life presents us with difficult challenges. His famous phrase, "It is not what happens to us, but how we respond to it that determines our lives," emphasizes the importance of courage in making responsible decisions. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, is also a prime example of a Stoic who displayed boldness. His Meditations are full of reflections on how to remain steadfast and courageous in the face of adversity. He faced many challenges, including wars and internal conflicts in the Roman Empire, but never lost his commitment to follow his principles. His ability to make difficult decisions and stay true to his beliefs is still inspiring to this day. These examples show that boldness and stoicism are inextricably linked. The Stoics not only preached philosophy, but were themselves examples of boldness in action, accepting the challenges of fate and staying true to their principles. Their lessons are still relevant today, inspiring us to be bold in our lives. Developing boldness in your daily life is a process that takes time and effort, but it is doable. These are a few concrete steps to help you become more bold and confident in your actions. Start with small steps. The first step to the development of boldness is to start with small goals. Start before yourself. Task that a little bit of you get a little bit of your comfort zone. For example, it could be a simple action such as meeting a new person at an event or voicing your opinion in a discussion. Gradually increase the complexity of the task to develop your confidence. Practice self-reflection. Regularly analyze your action and emotion. Write down your thoughts in a diary. What stops you? What fears arise? This will help you realize your barriers and understand how to deal with them. Self-reflection gives you the opportunity to see your progress and understand how you can improve your actions. Surround yourself with supportive people. Connecting with people who support and inspire you can make a big difference to your boldness. Find like-minded people who can share their success stories and support you in your endeavors. Support from others helps you feel more confident and bold. Try new things. Set a goal to try something new every month. It could be a new hobby, course, sport, or even a change of route to work. New experiences and impressions will help you develop flexibility and a willingness to change, which is an important part of being bold. Learn from failures. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every failure is an opportunity for growth and learning. Approach them as valuable experiences. When you encounter difficulties, analyze what you can improve and use that knowledge to achieve future successes. Visualize success. Spend time visualizing yourself achieving your goals. Visualization helps build confidence and motivation. By visualizing yourself overcoming challenges and achieving success, you create a positive mindset for action. Apply Stoic principles. Use the ideas of Stoicism to control emotions and accept the inevitable. Remind yourself that you can't control all circumstances, but you can control your reaction. This will help you show boldness in difficult situations. By developing boldness in your daily life, you will discover new opportunities, improve your confidence, and become more ready for challenges. Start with small steps, and gradually you will see how boldness becomes an integral part of your life. Stoicism offers many practical techniques to help you develop boldness and deal with your emotions. Here are some exercises based on Stoic principles that you can apply to your life. Keeping a journal. One of the basic Stoic exercises is journaling. Set aside time each day to write down your thoughts, fears, and experiences. This will help you better understand your emotions and identify what exactly is bothering you. After writing it down, analyze how real your fears are and what they are affecting. Often we exaggerate potential dangers, and this analysis helps you see the situation more objectively. Practice negative visualization. This exercise is about visualizing the worst-case scenarios. Think about what could go wrong in your life and how you would handle these situations. It may seem strange, but this approach helps you prepare for possible difficulties and develops courage. It also teaches you to appreciate what you have and helps reduce anxiety. Reflect on virtues. Each day, choose one virtue you want to develop, e.g., courage, patience, wisdom. Write down how you can manifest this virtue in your daily life. For example, if you chose courage, think about how you can show it in your interactions with co-workers or in new endeavors. This exercise helps you consciously develop the qualities needed for boldness. Acceptance. Exercise. Take time to think about the things that bother you and write down which of these things you can't change. Then accept it as a given. Acceptance helps reduce your stress levels and frees you from unnecessary worry. This exercise teaches you to focus on what really matters and what you can control. Reflection at the end of the day. Take a few minutes each evening to analyze the past day. Think about what you did well, what moments were challenging, and how you could have done things differently. This reflective process will help you learn from your mistakes and build confidence in your actions. Mantras and affirmations. Create a list of Stoic mantras or affirmations that you can repeat to yourself during difficult moments. For example, I can only control my actions, or every difficulty is an opportunity for growth. These phrases will help you stay calm and confident when you face challenges. Using these exercises and techniques based on Stoicism, you will be able to develop boldness, control your emotions, and make difficult decisions with confidence. Practicing these techniques will make you more resilient to life's challenges and help you achieve your goals. Dealing with failure and criticism is an important skill that can greatly impact your personal and professional growth. Here are some tips to help you overcome challenges and use them as opportunities for growth. Accept failure as part of the journey. The first thing that is important to realize is that failure is an inevitable part of any process. No one achieves success without mistakes and downfalls. Instead of seeing failures as defeats, look at them as steps on the road to success. Every experience, even negative ones, brings valuable lessons and helps you learn and grow. Analyze your mistakes. After a failure, set aside time to analyze what went wrong. Ask yourself questions. What could I have done differently? Or, what lessons can I learn from this experience? This kind of analysis will help you identify weaknesses and prepare for future challenges. Instead of just regretting what happened, use it as an opportunity for self-improvement. Don't be afraid of criticism. Criticism can be hard to take, but it's important to remember that it can often help you become a better person. Try to see constructive criticism as a source of information rather than an attack. Listen to what others have to say and analyze how their comments apply to your situation. This will help you improve your skills and approaches. Develop resilience. Resilience is the ability to recover from setbacks. Practice it by setting small goals and gradually increasing their difficulty. It is important to learn not to give up at the first difficulty. The more you overcome difficult situations, the more resilient and confident you become. Surround yourself with supportive people. Support from friends, family, and co-workers can play an important role in overcoming setbacks. Talking to those who support you and believe in you will help keep you motivated and confident. They can offer valuable advice and help you see things from a different perspective. Remember your goals. When you face challenges, it's helpful to remember why you started down this path in the first place. Keep your goals in focus, and this will help you overcome temporary setbacks. Write down your goals and remind yourself of them when the temptation to give up arises. Remember to take care of yourself when times are tough. Regular exercise, a healthy diet, and time to rest help you maintain emotional balance. When you feel good physically, it is easier to cope with psychological difficulties. Dealing with failure and criticism is a skill that takes practice. Use each failure as an opportunity for growth, and remember that each difficulty brings you closer to your goals. Over time, you will learn to accept failure as an important part of your path to success. Today we learned how boldness and stoicism can be powerful allies on the road to success. Boldness is the courage and determination that helps us overcome fears and go beyond what we are used to. Don't forget that failure is not the end, but part of the journey. Every experience, even negative ones, provides us with an opportunity for growth and self-improvement. We've looked at how it manifests in everyday life and how it can influence our decisions and actions. Share your experiences of boldness in the comments. Tell us how you've shown courage in a difficult situation, or what step into the unknown has changed your life. How Stoicism has helped you through difficult times. What lessons have you learned from your failures? Your stories can inspire others and create a supportive community where we can all learn from each other. Have you ever sat waiting for a text from someone who makes your heart beat faster? The clock ticks down and your phone screen goes blank, and you start to feel rejected and forgotten. It's a feeling familiar to anyone who has ever wanted to get the attention of someone who seems to always be out of reach. But what if there was a way to change the situation? What if you could make that special someone start missing you, start thinking about you even when you're not around? These are not magic, but psychological techniques that can help you win his heart and mind. The human mind is a complex and mysterious thing, and one of its most interesting aspects is our tendency to take things that don't come easily. We often don't appreciate what we have until we lose it. But what if you could use it to your advantage? What if you could make that person begin to appreciate your presence and long for you? Today we're going to talk about 6 powerful strategies based on deep psychological principles to help you become a magnet that attracts the attention and care of others. These techniques can change the game and help you become someone they can't forget. Strategy 1. Create a halo of mystery. To win someone's heart and make that person really miss you, start using the secret ingredient that helps make you irresistible: mystery. It's not just a gimmick, but a powerful tool that can change the game in your relationship. Enigma is the art of creating a halo of mystery around yourself, making every moment of communication with you seem like a page from a fascinating book, where every turn reveals new possibilities and intrigue. When you consciously control what you reveal, you create a puzzle that the other person wants to solve. Every piece you share is a piece of the bigger thing he wants to put together. This awakens a deep emotional connection in him, and he begins to miss you when you're not around. You become a mystery that he wants to solve, and that makes you more attractive and interesting. Being mysterious is not only a way to get attention, but also a way to maintain your autonomy in a world where revealing personal details has become the norm. You choose what to reveal, and by doing so, you control how you are perceived. You protect your personal boundaries by ensuring that you don't become completely predictable or accessible. This means you won't fall victim to other people's expectations or lose your individuality. By keeping a part of yourself a secret, you create an image of a person with emotional and personal depth that can't be fully understood right away. This sense of complexity can be incredibly appealing. Remember that the most exciting relationships are the ones where there is always something new to learn about the other person. You become like a book that you want to read all the way through, and each turn opens up new opportunities for communication and interaction. By embracing mystery, you provide what you have to offer, keeping the fire of the relationship bright and alive. You become someone who can surprise and amaze, who can reveal new sides to your personality and create new emotional connections. However, it's important to remember that being mysterious isn't about being dishonest or misleading. It's about being sincere in what you reveal, but doing it in a conscious way, without revealing everything at once. Ultimately, being mysterious not only gets the other person's attention, but also sets the stage for a richer and more meaningful connection, where both are constantly discovering and exploring new facets of each other. It is the art of creating a relationship that will grow and evolve from day to day, where every moment of communication is a new step in the adventure you are creating with the other person. Strategy 2. Authenticity, the power that makes you irresistible. To make someone miss you, let's not forget about authenticity, a concept that, although seemingly simple at first glance, has a profound impact on how we interact with others and how we are perceived. In a world where everyone wants to be someone, authenticity is a game-changing rarity. Being yourself means being prepared for the possibility that others may not understand or appreciate you. Think for a moment about what it means to be authentic. Authenticity is more than just honesty. It's a deep acceptance of yourself with all your idiosyncrasies, hobbies, and even flaws. This sincerity becomes a powerful magnet for those around you, creating a strong foundation for meaningful relationships. In a world where it is so easy to get lost among standards and expectations, striving to be yourself becomes a true art. When someone dares to be fully themselves and abandon their masks, it has the effect of a fresh breath. We live in an age where many people fit into conventional norms, and this can stifle our individuality. But when you meet someone who isn't afraid to show their true self, it's like they awaken in you a desire to be more bold and genuine. However, being authentic means having courage. It involves being open to vulnerability and being willing to accept that not everyone will appreciate your true nature. But it is this courage that draws people in. Your confidence and sincerity exude a positive energy that becomes irresistible. You don't just attract attention, you inspire others to start being themselves too. Authenticity makes you stand out from the crowd. People tend to remember not those who just go with the flow, but those who show the courage to be themselves. This leads to the creation of deep connections based on mutual understanding and respect. When you behave with sincerity, you give those around you permission to do the same. It's like creating a space where everyone can reveal their true nature. Further, sincerity is a source of energy. When you follow your hobbies and interests without looking back at the opinions of others, you emit such a vibrant energy that is impossible to ignore. People reach for this authentic passion because it's real and filled with deep meaning. It makes them nostalgic for your presence. They want to be around you to feel your charge and inspiration. Ultimately, being authentic means recognizing your intrinsic value without depending on other people's opinions. It's living according to your beliefs and dreams. When you start following this path, you not only become happier, but also undeniably attractive to those who are looking for authentic connections. So instead of trying to conform to the expectations of those around you, embrace your uniqueness. Be yourself, with all your strengths and weaknesses. Your authenticity will become a magnet, causing others to want to be around you, missing that genuine energy and sincere connection that only you can give. Strategy 3. Learn to use the power of scarcity. To create longing for your presence around you, it's worth understanding and utilizing the power of scarcity. This principle is deeply rooted in human psychology and states that we value more what is difficult to obtain or available in limited quantities. In the context of relationships, scarcity means managing time, energy, and attention so that they are perceived as valuable resources rather than abundance. In everyday life, abundance is often addictive, and over time it can diminish in value. If you're always on call, responding instantly to every message or request, you start to be perceived as predictable. This can cause others to take you for granted, which diminishes your value in their eyes. Conversely, introducing an element of scarcity into your interactions creates a sense of urgency and importance. If you're not always available and don't respond right away, it sends a message. Your time and attention are limited, and therefore they are valuable. Scarcity also fosters expectations and desire. When a person can't interact with you all the time, they start to think more about you in moments of absence. This vacuum can create a desire to re-experience those moments of companionship that were previously readily available. In this way, your absence becomes a powerful incentive that emphasizes the value of your presence. However, it is important to balance scarcity with sincerity and warmth. It's not about playing psychological games or remaining unavailable without reason. You need to establish a healthy rhythm in the relationship where everyone has space for their own lives and interactions remain meaningful. Scarcity, if managed properly, is not manipulation, but a way to emphasize the intrinsic value of what you offer as a person, your time, attention, and emotional energy. By applying scarcity, you also reinforce your independence. You don't need to be available all the time to feel valued or loved. On the contrary, when you allow yourself time for yourself and your interests, you become a more whole and interesting person. This independence will not only benefit you, but it will also enrich the dynamics of the relationship, allowing everyone to maintain their individuality. Ultimately, the art of scarcity is not just a strategy, but a way to create deep connections based on mutual value and respect. When you know how to manage your presence and time, you become a more whole and interesting person. Strategy 4. The art of leaving with a desire for more. This approach plays a key role in creating expectation and desire in many other areas of life, such as art, entertainment, and even business negotiations. The bottom line is the ability to manage expectations and maintain interest by creating emotional intensity. When we interact with someone, whether it's during a conversation, a date, or a simple messaging exchange, it's natural to strive to make those moments memorable. However, lingering too long in an interaction can lead to a decrease in emotional intensity, and the situation becomes predictable. This is where the rule of leaving with a desire for more comes into play. By ending an interaction at its peak, when there is still emotion and a desire to continue, you create a desire for the person in anticipation of the next encounter. This desire for more is a powerful psychological tool. When someone walks away with the feeling that the interaction could have continued, their mind tends to replay and relive that moment again. This mental repetition increases desire and interest, making the person think of you even after the interaction is over. Thus, you remain in his thoughts and feelings even when you are away. Also, the ability to leave with a desire for more helps reinforce your perceived value. By establishing a rhythm in the relationship that emphasizes that your time and company are valuable, you not only reinforce the other person's desire to spend more time with you, but you also teach them to value your moments together. This approach encourages the creation of qualitative interactions rather than quantitative ones. Instead of dragging out interactions until they lose their spark, you focus on creating memorable and meaningful moments that leave a lasting impression. This doesn't mean you have to be calculating or detached. It's important to be conscious of the natural flow of interaction and be able to recognize when it's worth ending a communication. Ending a conversation or meeting on a positive note leaves you feeling good and wanting to continue in the future. This sets the stage for further equally pleasant interactions. The concept of leaving with a desire for more also emphasizes the importance of expectation in human relationships. Expectation is one of the key components of desire. When a person knows that an encounter will take place but does not know exactly when or how, their imagination begins to fill in the gaps, creating intrigue and heightening interest. This gap between interactions not only gives the person a chance to miss you, but also increases the excitement of the upcoming meeting. However, it's important to manage this strategy with balance and sincerity. It's not about manipulating feelings, but creating a natural rhythm to the interactions. Sometimes it's better to end a conversation on a high note and leave the person with a pleasant experience than to drag it out to the point of losing its charm. This way, you not only keep the relationship fire burning, but also create an atmosphere where both are always looking forward to the next encounter. Strategy 5. The art of confidence and charisma. To evoke a yearning presence, it's important to project confidence and charisma, two qualities that combine to create a magnetic appeal. It's not a display of self-assurance or arrogance. It's a deep and sincere realization of your intrinsic value and what you have to offer, regardless of the opinions of others. Genuine confidence is evident in your demeanor, the way you speak, and the way you interact with others. You don't have to be the loudest or most extroverted to appear confident. True confidence is the ability to be yourself, to admit your mistakes and learn from them, and the willingness to be vulnerable without feeling threatened. This type of confidence commands respect because it demonstrates that you are a whole person with a clear understanding of your identity. Charisma, in turn, is the ability to attract and hold attention without artificial tricks. A charismatic person not only speaks persuasively, but also listens actively, making others feel valued and understood. It is the art of creating an atmosphere in which others feel comfortable and confident, which fosters the formation of sincere connections. When confidence and charisma come together, You become someone people want to spend time with, not because they want something from you, but because they enjoy being around you. This positive feeling becomes a powerful memory when you're not around, making people miss the unique energy you bring with you. By developing confidence and charisma, you not only become more attractive, but you also have a positive impact on those around you, leaving a lasting impression that lasts even when you're not around. Thus, the art of confidence and charisma is not just a set of skills, but a way of life. It allows you to create a space where people feel better about themselves and at the same time makes you irresistible. When you become a source of positive energy and sincerity, your absence starts to feel like a gap, which is what causes others to miss you. Strategy 6. Be independent and stop seeking constant approval. In order to create a yearning for your presence, it's important to avoid one of the most common mistakes in relationships: constantly seeking approval. It's natural to want to be valued and recognized, but when this desire grows into an incessant need for external validation, it can give the impression of insecurity and dependency. Ultimately, this diminishes your attractiveness and devalues your presence. Instead of focusing on the approval of others, it's worth focusing your energy on creating a fulfilling life for yourself. Pay attention to your interests, goals, and hobbies, and develop a sense of your own identity independent of the opinions of others. This will make you more interesting and attractive while sending a clear message. You are an independent person with a fulfilling life who doesn't need constant validation. This approach creates an effect of mystery and intrigue. When you don't seek constant attention or approval, others begin to wonder what you do, what inspires you, and why you don't depend on their opinion. This curiosity becomes a powerful catalyst, making people miss you because they begin to reflect on what's going on in your life, what they don't know about. When applying these principles, it's important to maintain balance and a sincere commitment to your own development. It's not about playing games, but about becoming the best version of yourself and allowing that energy to naturally attract others. Be genuine in your aspirations and passions, and you'll soon notice that people begin to look forward to your company, wanting to spend time with you again. Thus, by building a life of independence and self-sufficiency, you create an atmosphere where others begin to appreciate your presence and miss you when you are not around. Conclusion: the art of making others miss you. In a relationship world where we strive for intimacy and understanding, it's important to remember that true attractiveness is based on confidence, charisma, and independence. By creating an atmosphere where people miss you, you not only strengthen your bonds, but also enrich your interactions. As you begin your journey, it's worth realizing that constantly seeking approval can diminish your appeal. Instead, focus your energy on building a fulfilling life full of interests and hobbies. Allow yourself to be independent and self-sufficient, and you'll be an inspiration to those around you. By combining confidence with charisma, you will create a magnetic appeal that will make people reach out to you. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable and genuine. That's what earns respect and admiration. Remember that the mystery effect that comes from your independence only increases interest in you. People will wonder about you and what's going on in your life, and this curiosity will be a powerful catalyst for their emotions. So, follow these principles, stay true to yourself, and develop your strengths. Let your life be vibrant and rich, and your interactions with others be genuine and meaningful. Believe in your worth and bring your unique energy to the world. Then you will be someone who will be missed, and your presence will leave a lasting mark on people's hearts. Thank you for staying with us to the end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like. What strategies you are already applying or about to apply, write in the comments. Your feedback is always very important to us. I wish you all to find joy in your hobbies, build strong connections, and share your light with others. May each of you be a source of inspiration and warmth for others.